The corridors of royal residences have witnessed countless moments of tension, rivalry, and unexpected alliances over the centuries. Yet few could have imagined a day when Queen Camilla would find herself making a desperate appeal to Prince William, the very royal figure many palace observers believed she could never fully rely upon. It all began on a cold and stormy evening in London. Dark clouds hovered over the city as flashing blue lights suddenly illuminated one of the capital's most exclusive neighborhoods. Residents peered through curtains and gathered cautiously at windows as a large contingent of Metropolitan officers arrived without warning. Within minutes, rumors began spreading. Something significant was happening. Something that would soon send shockwaves through both the public and private circles of the monarchy. Witnesses described seeing multiple vehicles arriving simultaneously. Officers moved swiftly and professionally, establishing a perimeter around a luxury property linked to a member of Camilla's extended family. No official statement was immediately released. That silence only fueled speculation. Across social media, theories exploded. Journalists scrambled for information. Royal commentators rushed to contact palace insiders. Meanwhile, inside the royal household, senior aides were reportedly attempting to understand the rapidly unfolding situation. For Camilla, however, this was not simply another news story. This was personal. Very personal. According to fictional palace sources, the Queen was informed shortly after the operation began. What she initially believed was a misunderstanding soon appeared, far more serious than anyone had anticipated. As details remained scarce, concern quickly transformed into panic. Camilla reportedly spent much of the evening contacting advisors and trusted confidants, desperately seeking clarity. But answers were difficult to find. The operation had been conducted with remarkable secrecy. Even individuals with significant connections seemed unable to obtain reliable information. As the hours passed, the atmosphere inside royal circles became increasingly tense. Staff members exchanged worried glances. Senior officials held private discussions behind closed doors. And at the center of it all stood a queen confronting a deeply personal crisis. The situation became even more complicated because of one unavoidable reality. There was only one person with enough influence, authority, and public credibility to potentially help calm the escalating turmoil. Prince William. For years, commentators had speculated about the relationship between William and Camilla. While public appearances often projected unity and professionalism, rumors of underlying tensions had persisted. Some claimed their interactions were cordial but distant. Others insisted mutual respect had gradually developed over time. Regardless of which version was true, one fact remained undeniable. William's voice carried immense weight. As heir to the throne and one of the most trusted members of the royal family, his involvement could dramatically alter how any crisis was perceived. Camilla knew that. And, according to our fictional story, she soon reached a difficult conclusion. She needed William's help. The realization was not easy. Pride, history, and years of complicated family dynamics stood in the way. Yet family loyalty often demands uncomfortable choices. As concern for her sister intensified, Camilla reportedly set aside every hesitation. The Queen requested an urgent private meeting. The request immediately caught the attention of palace aides. Such meetings were not unheard of, but the timing suggested extraordinary circumstances. Preparations were reportedly made with unusual speed. Within hours, William had been informed that Camilla wished to speak with him directly. No aides. No advisors. Just the two of them. The atmosphere surrounding the meeting was tense from the very beginning. William entered the room aware that something significant had occurred. Camilla, usually known for her composed public demeanor, appeared visibly distressed. Observers who later heard accounts of the encounter described it as one of the most emotional private conversations in recent royal memory. For several moments, neither spoke. The silence itself communicated the gravity of the situation. Finally, Camilla broke it. Her voice, according to fictional accounts, carried a mixture of concern, exhaustion, and desperation. She explained everything she knew: the reports, the rumors, the uncertainty. Most importantly, she expressed her fears regarding her sister's situation. William listened carefully. He did not interrupt. He did not rush to conclusions. Instead, he absorbed every detail. The future king understood that crises involving family members often become magnified when connected to the monarchy. Even when royals are not directly involved, public perception can create enormous challenges. As Camilla continued speaking, the emotional weight of the situation became increasingly apparent. This was not merely a request for political assistance. This was a sister worried about a loved one, a family member terrified by uncertainty, a woman facing circumstances beyond her control. For perhaps the first time in years, all titles and royal distinctions seemed secondary. What remained was a human moment, one individual asking another for help. William reportedly asked a series of careful questions. What information had been confirmed? What remained speculation? Who had direct knowledge of the operation? Which reports could actually be trusted? His approach reflected the discipline that senior royal figures often develop when confronting potentially explosive situations. Emotion alone could not solve the problem. Facts were essential, yet obtaining facts proved remarkably difficult. The operation's secrecy had created a vacuum, and vacuums inevitably attract rumors. Some stories claimed financial irregularities. Others suggested entirely different explanations. Many contradicted one another. Few could be verified. William understood the danger immediately. Acting on incomplete information could make matters worse. However, doing nothing carried risks as well. Public speculation was accelerating by the hour. News outlets were dedicating increasing attention to the developing story. The longer uncertainty persisted, the greater the potential damage. For Camilla, every passing minute felt unbearable. She repeatedly returned to the same concern. Her sister. Was she safe? Was she being treated fairly? What exactly had happened? The lack of answers was becoming almost impossible to endure. According to fictional palace insiders, William recognized the emotional toll this uncertainty was taking. Despite whatever differences may have existed in the past, he reportedly expressed sympathy for Camilla's position. That response surprised some observers. For years, narratives about divisions within the royal family had dominated headlines. Yet crises often reveal unexpected dimensions of relationships. This appeared to be one of those moments. Rather than focusing on old disagreements, William concentrated on the immediate challenge. He assured Camilla that he would seek accurate information through appropriate channels. Not to interfere, not to influence outcomes, but to ensure that decisions were being guided by facts rather than rumors. The assurance provided a measure of relief. Not complete relief, but enough to steady nerves that had been stretched to their limit. Outside palace walls, however, the story continued gaining momentum. Television networks began broadcasting live updates. Commentators debated possible implications. Online discussions generated millions of views. Every new rumor produced fresh headlines. Every headline generated further speculation. The pressure continued building. And then came a development nobody expected. Late the following evening, information began emerging that challenged many of the assumptions dominating public discussion. Sources close to the investigation suggested that several widely circulated claims might be inaccurate. The revelation stunned observers. Had the public narrative been wrong from the start? Had speculation raced far ahead of verified facts? If so, the consequences could be enormous. Inside royal circles, cautious optimism began replacing outright panic. But uncertainty still remained. Critical questions had yet to be answered. And until those answers emerged, nobody could predict how the situation would ultimately unfold. As William continued gathering reliable information and Camilla anxiously awaited updates, the monarchy found itself balancing on the edge of a developing storm. What would investigators reveal next? Would Camilla's sister be fully cleared of suspicion? Could William's efforts help prevent a public relations disaster? Or was an even greater shock still waiting around the corner? The answers were closer than anyone realized. The breakthrough finally arrived just as tension within royal circles appeared to reach its peak. According to our fictional story, investigators completed a critical review of the evidence that had fueled days of speculation. What emerged painted a far more complex picture than the sensational rumors that had dominated headlines. Several of the most dramatic claims circulating online were reportedly unsupported by the facts. As official details gradually became clearer, the atmosphere shifted almost overnight. For Camilla, the news brought an overwhelming sense of relief. After days of fear and uncertainty, she finally received confirmation that her sister was safe and cooperating fully with authorities. While questions still remained regarding certain aspects of the investigation, the worst-case scenarios that had haunted the Queen's thoughts no longer appeared likely.